Aetna Insurance, the third largest insurance group in the country, medical insurance, is being sued because the allegation, and they're not denying it, is that their doctor, medical director, who looks at files, looks at medical reports to either say yes or no to medical treatment, authorizing medical treatment, doesn't even look at the files. Were you stunned, or is this no surprise to you?
Well, on one hand, I'm just stunned that this happens because obviously good care, high-quality care actually is cheaper. So if they were smart, they would do the right thing the first time, and they would save a ton of money. But instead, they just look at expensive treatments and write deny across it. It's ridiculous. So, I'm stunned that happens, but I'm not surprised because when you see some of the decisions they make where it's obvious that a certain treatment should be approved, and then I see that person in the emergency department that costs 10, 20 times what it would have cost if they just would have done the treatment, it's unacceptable behavior from the healthcare system, basically.
Well, there's two issues here. Issue number one is a doctor, a physician, who understands what is going on. Maybe it's even worse. Looking at the treatment and then for whatever reason, usually or almost always monetary, saying, no, we're not going to do it. Then you have the fight, whether it's appropriate or not. And obviously, Aetna saying it's inappropriate, and the patient and maybe the doctor saying it is appropriate who treats. So that's one issue, the fight over whether the treatment is advisable or necessary or should be given. And then the other issue here, the doctor never even looking at this thing and relying on the nurse's recommendation. And nurses, last I remember the law, aren't really allowed to practice medicine, are they?
No, and I mean that's the frustrating thing is you sometimes feel like insurance companies are practicing medicine long distance when they tell you can or can't do something. It seems like over the years it's improved because a lot of these companies are getting the idea that by denying access and denying care, you aren't helping anyone, and you're costing more money. So I got to say that access I think has improved slightly, but approval for some of these expensive treatments definitely continues to be a problem, and it just feels like they just deny it because of the finances and not necessarily because of the medicine. And there is no excuse for them to use a nursing panel. I get that they use a nursing panel to screen things, but then they're supposed to put everything in order. I mean, this is like when you do a legal case. There's a lot of law firms, right, that do the same thing. They have nurses screen the whole file, but it's not going to be the nurse up on the stand when you testify as an expert. You need to review the case and be able to speak to the case personally. So, I mean, it blows me away, but yet I'm not that surprised.
And so the bigger issue for you is not necessarily that a doctor relied on the nurse's recommendation, but just the general philosophy of not okaying medical treatment because later on it costs more. Right. Well, no, I mean, I think I'm okay with nurses reviewing it, but if you're going to be the medical director for a large insurance company, I'm curious because Aetna's not denying it. They're going to explain their process, and I would imagine they feel comfortable with their process since they're not denying it, and they say we're going to explain this when we have our day in court. But I'm curious to see how they explain away the fact that these decisions are made by nurses and they're not made by doctors. Now, I'm assuming this is only long-term expensive care. Like in this case, it was the immunoglobulin or globulin procedure they use. But is emergency room stuff, do you ever see later on hear of, I know at the moment you don't, but where the insurance company is saying, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. I mean, how does that go? Is that across the board or only for the really expensive stuff? Oh, no, trust me, insurance companies are evil. There's no question about it. I mean, they literally, there's insurance companies that will send our patients an explanation of benefits that says they owe $0. Then they will send us an explanation of benefits that says that they still owe us the money that the insurance company didn't pay, and that this is their copay or their co-insurance or their deductible. Well, then the patient gets a bill and thinks we're the ones with the problem, right? And this is all the insurance companies are doing this on purpose. There's no question about it. So the kind of behavior that they display, it's clear. It's about making money. It's about keeping the profit.
So it's a struggle, but without insurance companies, of course, nobody would be able to afford health care. So
right, another argument for national health. I mean, see, and I didn't set this up either. It just always goes in that direction whenever we talk.